Hey, what are you doing?
Well, it's part of the Ron's Trains and Things Get Down Dance Contest.
Down and dirty weathering contest.
Oh, it's Get Down and Dirty Weathering Contest.
For freight cars.
For freight cars?
Yeah, freight cars, dummy.
Okay.
What a weirdo.
Hi, I'm Andy Dorsch, and I'm going to be talking about my two contest entries in the Ron's Trains and Things Down and Dirty Weathering Contest. My two entries are going to be a couple of scaletrains.com Evans 5100 double plug door box cars. So these box cars are actually kits where they kind of went back to the old shake the box method, which means you put the weight in, you put the wheel sets on, you put the couplers on, and bada bing, you've got a kit. So these kits are a nice way to get back into the hobby. Like myself, I've been out of it for quite a while, and were a nice way to kind of relive my teenage years of making Athearn Blue Box kits. These particular cars on my layout are going to be used in heavy service. They're going to be taking canned goods from our canning factories and also probably handling paper products from the paper mills and other types of furniture or finished wood items. So they're going to be in heavy service. So that means they're going to need a lot of weathering. So to talk about my weathering process, I like to start on the internet. The internet is a great place to get prototype photos or photographs of what this model might have looked like in real life. And what I like to do is try and emulate that photo on the model itself. So I'm going to cut away here and we're going to go take a look at the internet where I found a couple of pictures of these types of cars and how they've been weathered by Mother Nature.
All right, so we're out here on the internet, and we found a couple of prototype photos of the cars that we want to weather. So as you can see here, this is the Burlington Northern prototype. You can see the rusting near the top sill of the car and the bottom sill. And then there's some grime on the doors. Then you can also kind of pick up on the coloring of the trucks and side frames, how it's a real nice dark brown. Some just general rust streaking. This car isn't too bad a shape as of yet. And then if you look in the upper left hand corner of the car, you can even see some rusting on the roof. So this is a nice little picture here of this particular car. Here's another picture of a different Burlington Northern car, similar style though. You can see the rust streaking again from the top and carrying down into the big BN logo. The rusting on the lower sill and the track for the double plug doors, and then of course rusting on the top. It's a little difficult to see the truck coloration here, but it's still a dark brown, and you can kind of see the couplers on the left hand side, which is also a dark brown. So let's take a look at the C&W. I actually found something on Model Railroad Hobbyist in a blog post. Here's a picture of the prototype, and it actually is a prototype photo regarding the Scale Trains boxcar itself. And as you can see here, there's a bunch of grime on the door mechanisms, the sill plates, or the tracks, upper and lower, and then just grime on the ends of the boxcar. The coloration of the trucks is visible here. You can see that it's real dark brown, even black in spots, and then the couplers and the draft gear for the couplers themselves is a dark brown. And then here's another prototype picture of it in service, and you can see it's grime streaking, some rusting in the door tracks, but other than that, not too heavily weathered. So we're going to try and emulate these types of effects on these two scale trains boxcars.
So now that we've talked about what the real cars look like, you can kind of get in a picture of what's all going to get weathered. I want to talk about the materials and the tools that I'm going to be using in this weathering process. So this is Model Master flat lusterless overcoat. A lot of people call it dull coat. That's kind of like the brand name for Kleenex, but it's a flat or a matte finish. That's how I start every weathering project. So these models will get a coat of flat or matte finish to them. I use the rattle can. Some people have heartburn with that. I've used the airbrush method as well. If you sit at a good distance away and lightly mist the model, you can achieve this same effect with an airbrush. After we've dull coated or put a matte or flat finish on the models, I like to add some washes to kind of fade the boxcars. So I use different types of fades here. I usually do an acrylic fade to start, so I'll use a white mixed with, if I'm doing a green car, I'll mix it with red, because red fades green, and if I'm doing a red car, I'll add green, because green fades red. There's a science to that, but if you were to just apply a white fade to a green car, it would look kind of frosted. And similarly, if you were to just apply a white fade to a red car, it would just kind of look pink, and it wouldn't really look right. So green cars get red and white, because red kind of helps cancel out the green, and red cars get green and white. So that's a little modeling tip that you can take back from this video right off the bat. So after I've applied the fade, I like to do some washes. So I got this cool Vallejo green kind of weathering and wash kit that military modelers use. Seen it in action, I've used it on a couple of my models previous. I really like the results that I get from this. There's pigments in here, there's washes, and a couple of different types of paints. It's a really cool kit just to have kind of in your back pocket, so I'm going to be using that on the Burlington Northern. And then I had a couple of other washes, are just a couple of homemade jobs that I've done up. So I've got a brown or dirty fade. All this is this is my paint brush cleaning jar. That's all this is. So there's turpentine in here, so any oil-based paint that gets thrown in the jug, it's also used as a wash. And then I have a black wash that I made with just a little bit of artist oil and some turpentine. This is really, it's really kind of my go-to wash to apply on a lot of my cars. And then I'll also be using some artist oils. Pick these up at Hobby Lobby. I think these ones are $5.99 a tube, but this tube's going to last me my whole life. So you buy it once, that's it. We're going to use these for streaking and adding some rust effects and some other different types of effects on the car, such as rust and rust blotches. And then lastly, I like to use pastels in my weathering process. Pan pastels, I know they work really well with artist oils. They add some really nice texture to the tops of artist oils. And then I also have some just drawing pastels, multicolored here, just to add some other effects as well. So those are the materials that I'm going to be using. As far as the tools, pretty basic things. The one oddity that I am going to include is this etching brush. It's a fiberglass brush. It's got some really prickly bristles on the end. What this is going to be used for is removing lettering and decals. Sometimes the Burlington Northern cars, the big white blotch kind of chips away. So I want to simulate that by using this tool here, I went out to Amazon to buy it. It was $5. But it was difficult to find, but they're out there. And then just basic paint brushes that you can get at the hobby store. Those are the other things that I like to use here. The big one is my blending brush. I like to blend all my things together so there are subtle shades and not just, whoa, pow, in your face, different contrasts. And then I have various stippling brushes and just regular artist brushes to essentially achieve the weathering effects. So those are the materials and tools that I'm going to be using in weathering both of these cars. If you guys have any questions about my techniques or tools, please put them in the comments below. Lastly, I want to thank Ron's Trains and Things for putting on this contest, and Eric at IMRRO.com. Thanks again for putting that on, and I want to thank their sponsor, Midwest Mile Railroad, for also their involvement in the contest as well. So that's going to wrap it up for me today. Again, questions, comments, love to hear them. Put them in the comment section below. And until next time, keep it in notch 8.